For this one, we're going to be judging Performance Mode, DX11, and DX12. If you live under a rock for some reason, Fortnite just changed the look of Performance Mode. Now when you enable Performance Mode, it makes you look like a complete mobile player. You want to know which mode is the best for you? Then you might want to watch this video. We're going to be debunking the most talked about topics on Fortnite, starting with this one, which is the best mode to play in. I think for the sake of this video and we have an understanding, my PC is a 1070 Ti graphics card with an i9-9900K, 32 gigabytes of RAM. Different GPUs perform better on different modes, that's just a heads up. Since my GPU is not expensive, but it's also not the lowest you can go, I think mine's a good midpoint to understand which mode's the best. Don't forget to be using code KENBEANS in the shop, as it's the best way to support me and my channel, as we're on the road to 500 supporters this month. If you want to see more topics where I talk about controversial topics, drop a fat sub and a like for the one time, and without further ado, let's test this out. Alright, so I'm going to queue up into arena, not normal solo, so it's a little more interesting, and for each mode I'm going to try and hop into a game and get the dub. At that same time, I'm going to try and point out things whether it's good or bad, so you guys can clearly see which mode is better and which is not. The main overall objective that we're looking for when we're studying these modes, we're going to be looking at the FPS, the stutters, and overall how it feels when I'm playing. In the pregame lobby, for some reason, there's always less FPS and there's always the most stutters, so I'm not going to really count that. I'm just going to try and focus on the gameplay when I actually land. Ever since I got into this game though, it has been stuttering and my FPS is fluctuating a lot. The one thing I'm noticing is that the textures do tend to load in on all low settings. Now that the game is kind of settled, my FPS is not really jumping, and you know, that might just be a pregame thing. I'm getting a solid 155, and it hasn't really dipped below 150. Just so you're aware, I do cap myself at 160. If you guys don't know, you could upgrade here. All you gotta do is come here, boom, boom, boom. And we good. I have noticed that the NPCs don't always spawn though. You know, there's sometimes where I am getting a lot of stutters on DX11, just depending on where I am on the map. It seems to just jump up and down at weird times. It hasn't happened during a fight yet though, but overall this isn't the most smooth experience I've ever seen. Let's go! So close to the dub! I have no idea where this guy is. Oh, if I don't win this, man. Let's go! Easy! DX11 treat me right. Nice little 10 kill win. Pretty solid. My final thoughts on DX11, I do like it. I did have stutters occasionally, but it wasn't overbearing. The FPS was pretty solid. And overall, it kind of felt a little choppy at times, but I mean, it was pretty smooth. Come down here. Let's go to DX12. Confirm, apply. And then we're going to restart. Okay, so we hopped into game number 2, and let's see on DX12 if this is good or not. I've played on DX12 before, and one thing I've noticed is that if I don't put my textures all the way to epic, sometimes stuff just doesn't load in and it looks really blurry. My view distance is at medium right now, but everything else is set to low. So sometimes the game just doesn't load in with the textures. So I'm gonna try and show you guys exactly what I'm talking about. Usually when I land, it happens, but let's see. I don't know. Right now, everything's looking fine. Oh man. Bruh. It's really not that bad. As you can see, the back building is still not rendered, but if you give it a second, it does render it. I feel like this is something that kind of happens on every mode though, so I really wouldn't stress that. But you can even see that these things aren't even rendered. It just rendered right there. So as you can see right here, like these trees aren't loaded in. And this is something that happens a lot on DX12, at least in the time I've been playing on it. Even though I put my textures to epic, I haven't really noticed any big frame drops because of it. But I guess one thing that's pretty common on all these is the fact that no matter what mode you play on, you're gonna get performance hiccups and just stutters and FPS drops. It's really rare to get an entire game to never drop frames at least once. That's probably consistent on my PC, but I feel like a lot of you guys can relate to that.
God. Niks, niemand doet wat, want het is een god, vergeet het niet verstil. Ja!
So to wrap up DirectX 12, for my system, I think compared to DX11, it was way smoother, not a lot of FPS drops, not a lot of stutters. The only things was the textures just not loading in. It's really awkward and just weird when I play, especially when I'm landing, it happens a lot. But if I put my textures to epic, it does solve that problem. Let's go to performance mode. As you can see, we're on performance mode, and this is literal mobile builds, so let's see if we can get a dub. The one thing that's really tough about this mode is the fact that you can barely see through builds. The reason why I like to play on normal DX11 or 12 is because I can track enemies better when I can see them through the builds. If there's a fully built wall on performance mode, it's really difficult to see people through that. But on DX11 or 12, it's kind of easy. Let's just see if we can get a dub, and I'll let you guys know how it feels. Beautiful. So whenever a wall is weak, you could see through it, but when it's not and it's fully built, that's the thing I'm talking about. But I would say if you have a lower end computer, this is 100% the mode you should be using, no questions asked. I'd say if you get below like 80 frames, you should be using performance mode. Just stick it out and try and get used to it to the best you can. But if you're a person like me who can get around 144 to 240 frames, then playing on DX11 or 12 is probably the way to go. If I were you, what I'd do personally is test out both and see how good they are. Use the comparisons I did in this video for yourself, but right off the top of my head, I can tell you right now that for me, I like DX12 a little more. I have to say that performance mode does feel really smooth and clean, and I like it a lot. There are so many people. Get me out of here, man. I do not want to fight any of you guys. Thank you.
Is the flotation device...
Ladies and gents, we are safe for right now. Fighting on performance mode is something that just felt really smooth right there. I'm not gonna lie. My edits felt clean and everything just felt like it was on point. It could just be because I wasn't warmed up enough on DX11 and 12, but I really do like the feel of performance mode. It's just like the look thing is really difficult for me to get over. Without question, there's definitely a lot of people watching this that need performance. So I wouldn't feel bad at all to put this on because if anything, a lot of pros use this as well. No! So we've tested all three areas. 11, 12, performance mode. By far the smoothest and felt really confident on it. 11 had a lot of stutters and FPS drops, but only at certain times. DX12 didn't have stuff rendering in unless it was on epic texture. If you have a low-end PC, performance mode. I would say if you have anything else, probably use DX12. Test out DX11, see if you like it for 3 games, and if you don't, switch back. Shout out to the people on the screen right now using code KenBeans. I appreciate you guys. Y'all some real ones. If you want to be in the next vid, just hit me with a picture on Twitter or Instagram. If you guys have any further questions, feel free to stop by my Twitch channel. I'll talk to you guys in the next one. Deuces. Peace.